She was the daughter of a millionaire, surrounded by wealth, privilege, and protection. He was a black cleaner, invisible to most who passed him in the grand estate's halls. But in one terrifying moment, their worlds collided. She collapsed, her life slipping away before anyone knew what to do. And while others froze, he made a choice that would change everything. A choice born not of wealth, but of humanity. But what followed wasn't just gratitude. It uncovered truths about race, class, and dignity that no one expected. What happens when the person society overlooks becomes the only one who can save its most privileged? Daniel Carter had worked as a cleaner in the Grant family mansion for years, moving quietly through polished halls lined with chandeliers and portraits that whispered privilege. To most, he was just part of the background, a shadow in uniform, unnoticed but always there. His days were long, his pay barely enough, but his dignity and resilience carried him through. Daniel dreamed of giving his children a life where they wouldn't be judged by the color of their skin. Yet inside that world of glittering wealth, he knew his presence was tolerated, not valued. He was the one who polished silver so others could shine. The one who cleared empty glasses while guests raised theirs in celebration. It was another routine evening, the kind Daniel had lived countless times. The ballroom echoed with laughter, music, and the scent of fine wine. To everyone else, it was just another party. To Daniel, it was just another shift. What he didn't know was that before the night was over, his life would be thrust into a moment so critical, even the millionaire's fortune couldn't buy its way out. The mansion was alive with noise that evening, music pulsing, voices rising in drunken joy. Daniel moved quickly as he always did, weaving between guests, gathering glasses, wiping spills before they stained marble floors. Invisible, silent, necessary. Then, in a heartbeat, everything shifted. Across the room, Isabella Grant, the only daughter of the millionaire family, staggered. At first, Daniel thought it was the careless sway of champagne, but then her face drained of color, her body crumpling to the ground. Gasps sliced through the music. Screams followed. Guests froze, paralyzed by fear. Daniel's instincts ignited. He rushed forward, kneeling beside her. Her pulse was faint, her lips turning pale. He shouted for someone to call an ambulance, but eyes turned on him with suspicion. A black man hovering over a white girl in distress. Whispers sharpened into accusations. "Step back," a voice shouted. But no one helped, no one knelt, no one dared. Daniel felt the sting of 1,000 unspoken judgments. He had lived this reality his whole life. The way his skin made people see threat instead of help. For a moment, fear rooted him to the floor. He knew one wrong move could twist this into something ugly, dangerous. But Isabella's body trembled, her breaths shallow. Seconds mattered. And so Daniel acted. Ignoring the stares, ignoring the venom in their silence, he scooped her into his arms. The ballroom gasped, people pulling away as if his very touch endangered her. He didn't stop. His legs carried him through the mansion, through the heavy doors, into the cold night air. Every step was a war, not just against time, but against prejudice. A security guard stepped forward, hand raised to block him. "Move!" Daniel roared, his voice slicing the night. The guard hesitated, and Daniel pushed through, Isabella's fragile body still clinging to life in his arms. Then, just as the mansion gates loomed ahead, flashing red and blue lights cut through the darkness. Sirens wailed, police cars skidded into place, headlights locking on him. Relief should have come. Instead, dread consumed him. Because in that moment, Daniel realized help had arrived, but not for him. The siren screamed, drowning out the sound of his racing heartbeat. Officers poured out of their cars, their hands not reaching for medical bags, but for weapons. "Put her down, now!" The words cracked like gunfire. Daniel froze. Isabella's chest barely rose against him, her life slipping away by the second. But to them, he wasn't a man saving her, he was the danger. The crowd spilled from the gates, voices hissing with poison. He grabbed her. She was fine until he touched her. The story twisted faster than the truth could breathe. Daniel's legs shook. Drop her, and she might die. Hold her, and he might be shot. His skin, his existence made him guilty before he spoke a word. Then, a gasp. Isabella's chest lifted, shallow but alive. The sound cracked through the night like thunder. She needs help. Look at her. Daniel's voice roared into the chaos, ragged with desperation. For a single moment, everything froze. Then a paramedic pushed past the wall of officers, kneeling at Isabella's side. His urgency was undeniable. This was life or death. "She's critical," he shouted, waving for a stretcher. Only then did the officers step back, their weapons lowering, their mistake hanging heavy in the air. Daniel's arms shook as he placed Isabella into the paramedic's care. Relief surged, but so did anger. He had carried her out of death's shadow, yet nearly lost his own life in the process. And as the ambulance doors slammed shut, Daniel stood beneath the flashing lights, surrounded by stares that still weren't gratitude, but suspicion. Isabella survived. The doctors said without Daniel's quick action, she wouldn't have made it. Her family wept with relief. The media rushed to report the dramatic rescue, yet Daniel's name was nowhere in the headlines. The papers praised a loyal employee, never daring to acknowledge the black man who risked everything. For Daniel, the night became a scar he couldn't shake. He remembered the fear in the officers' eyes, the way guns pointed at him as if saving a life was a crime. He had done everything right, and still, he had nearly paid the ultimate price. Isabella herself tried to set the record straight. She told anyone who would listen that Daniel was her hero, the reason she was alive. But society's silence was louder. His courage didn't fit the narrative they wanted to tell. Daniel was left with a truth he had known his whole life, but felt deeper than ever. Sometimes, even when a black man saves a life, the world refuses to see him as a hero. This wasn't just one night, one mansion, one act of bravery. It was a reflection of a larger reality. How prejudice can twist even the purest intentions. How bias can turn a savior into a suspect. Daniel's story belongs not just to him, but to every person who has been overlooked, doubted, or feared because of the skin they live in. So the question remains, how many more lives must be risked? How many more sacrifices made before we see beyond color to humanity? Before we honor courage without hesitation and recognize dignity without prejudice? The answer doesn't rest with Daniel. It rests with us.